In this section of training, we are going to build on our knowledge of suffix chop and add in some advanced concepts. We'll provide a summary of these additional steps, do a brief procedure demonstration, and then ask you to complete an activity on your own. So far, we've learned many different strategies for spelling base words with suffixes. We've learned that sometimes we just add the suffix, and the spelling of the base word is unchanged. We've also learned that sometimes we need to stop and think before we add the suffix. We've learned about the 1 + 1 + 1 doubling rule, E-drop rule, and all of the different Y rules. In the doubling and E-drop rules, we've learned that when we add a vowel suffix, often the spelling of the base word is changed. We might double the final consonant or drop a silent E when we're adding a vowel suffix. Most recently, we've explored the Y rules. In the Y rules, we've learned that sometimes we just add the suffix as when our Y word ends in a Y vowel team, like AY, EY, or OY. We also learned that we just add the suffix if the suffix begins with the letter I. But in all other instances with words ending in Y, we change the Y to I and add the suffix. In the procedure that we will demonstrate, you'll see how we support students in applying all of this knowledge to accurately decode words when suffixes have been added. Also note that we support students when they identify that a vowel suffix has been added, and there may be additional steps needed to see if a consonant was doubled or an E was dropped. You'll see that when we chop off a suffix, if we identify an I before the suffix, we might have to point out that I used to be a letter Y. So again, our knowledge of all of these different rules will come in handy as we teach students to read unknown words that have had suffixes added.
So now that we've learned the Y rules, we need to add another step to our suffix chop procedure. So let's review what we've done so far. We've learned that when we have a vowel suffix, we chop off the suffix, and we have some work to do. So if we look at our first word here, Shannon, do you see a suffix that you recognize?
ED.
ED. And what kind of suffix is ED?
A vowel suffix.
So what do we need to do?
We need to count how many consonants are between the vowels.
And so how many do we see?
Oh, 1.
So what do we know this word said?
Oh, that's a long O, so it says robe.
Right. And so if we put the suffix back on, it says?
Robed.
Very nice. All right, looking at our next word, do we see a suffix we recognize?
ING.
And so we'll chop that off. And what kind of suffix is that?
A vowel suffix.
So what do we need to do?
Count how many consonants between the vowels.
That's right. So there's the vowel. And so how many consonants do we see?
1, 2.
And so we know our word was?
Rid.
And so the whole word is?
Ridding.
Right. Great. So if we look at the next word, do we see a suffix on this word?
LY.
LY. And is it what kind of suffix is it?
Oh, it's a consonant suffix.
Okay, so we don't have to identify and count, but we have to look at the letter that was right before this suffix. Now, we learned earlier that no English words end in I. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Of course, we know there's a couple of exceptions, but generally no English word ends in I. So we know that in its previous life, this Y was an I. I was a Y. So then our word is?
Happy.
And we add our suffix back on, and it is?
Happily.
Great job.
Now you are going to have an opportunity to try suffix chop, adding in the steps that you've learned to make sure that you can accurately identify the base word and pronounce the whole word. Looking at this page from the manual, you'll notice that these words are unfamiliar. That's because we've given you nonsense words, since you likely would have visual memory and already know how to pronounce them if we gave you regular words. Here's how this activity works. We would like you to look at the word in the left column. We'll do the first one together. We identify the suffix and chop it off, ISH. I'll record that in the suffix column, and then your goal is to identify the base word. Since this is a vowel suffix, we need to count the consonants between the two vowels. Since there is only one, we know the vowel would say its name. That means our base word was glime. So I'll record glime in the base word column, and then I'll go back and pronounce the word glimish. As you work through this activity, please follow the steps so that you know how to accurately decode the base word and the whole word. Record the suffix in the suffix column and the base word in the base word column, and then go back and pronounce the word and see if you can apply that information. There may be a couple of problematic ones here, which we'll go over together in a moment. At this point, I would like you to pause the video to complete this activity. When you're ready, resume the video and we'll check our work. Hopefully, you had some fun doing that activity with nonsense words, and even more fun going back and pronouncing them. Now, let's check our work, because again, I anticipate that there were a couple of issues here that you weren't certain about. We'll talk through them together. But starting with the second word, when we chopped off the suffix since there were two consonants, we knew the base word was quimp, so the word is quimping. On the next word, we chopped off est. That gave us two consonants between the vowels. The base word is slask. The word is slaskest. That's hard to say, isn't it? Next, we chopped off er, counted the consonants between the vowels, and since there was only one, my base word was drope. So my word is droper. This next one was probably an issue. Is it an S suffix or an ES suffix? Normally, we would have our oral language vocabulary to guide us in this choice. Chop off the S and our base word is slini, slin-ni. Chop off the ES and the base word ends with an I. Change the Y to I, and the base word is slinny, slin-ni. Which one do we recognize, slin-I or slin-e? As a nonsense word, either answer could be correct. Continuing on, we've chopped off suffix ly. That's a consonant suffix, so we likely don't have any work to do, and looking back at the base word, it ends in a vowel team, ay. So yes, that's a pretty safe bet. Our base word was tray. Our word is trayly. For the next one, we see suffix ed, a vowel suffix. We count one consonant between the vowels, then the base word was smike, where it becomes smiked. Next, we chop off ing, a vowel suffix. We actually have three consonants before the suffix, so we're in good shape. We see that it's an R-controlled vowel, so the base word is forced, and the word is forsting. Next, we chop off ing. It's a vowel suffix. Counting the consonants, there's only one. That means the vowel says its name. The base word was grabe. The word is grabing. Next, we're not sure if we have suffix s or es, so I'm going to chop off es. Oh, I see one of those patterns, ch, right in front of it. So that must be correct. The base word is minch, and the word is minches. For the next one, I've got suffix ing. Chop it off. It's a vowel suffix. I need to count consonants. There's only one. My base word was pone, so the word is poning. Next, I chop off suffix ed. I see that it's a vowel suffix. I must count the consonants. There are two, so the vowel would say its short sound. The base word is misk, so the word is misked. And this last one is a little tricky. I see that it's either suffix s or es. I'm going to try es first. Oh, that works because I would add es if my base word ended in x. That's one of those patterns in my jingle, so I write that down, and then we have this issue of, wait a minute, there's only one consonant between the vowels. So is the base word going to say its name, oo, trux, truxes? Actually, no, it won't. Just a reminder about something you learned on one of the first days of training that maybe didn't stick to your memory. But X is one of those letters that never gets doubled. And the reason there aren't two consonants between the vowel suffix and the vowel to keep that vowel short is because X does not get doubled in English. And one other thing that we learned when talking about magic E is that X does not occur in a magic E pattern. So our base word was trucks, and our word is truckses. Now we'll conclude this advanced section of Suffix Chop. Hopefully we built some awareness about how difficult it is to control word lists, and how students might need us to help them accurately decode words. Now you've got some tools to do so. This concludes the Advanced Suffix Chop section of training.